I'm going to start talking to you about, we're actually talking about, God has put a little message in my heart, in Jamie's heart. We have been working together on this message for a couple of days, a couple of weeks actually. And so we're going to talk about excellence today. We're going to talk about this spirit of excellence. And I have to confess, throughout this whole journey of preparation, I was like, Lord, am I excellent enough to talk about this? Conviction right there, like, oh, I'm like, Jamie, are you sure I'm like the person for this? Am I excellent enough? He's like, well, if you're not, then I'm definitely not. So, yes, we're going to talk about this spirit of excellence. So, excellence is a spirit. It's not a physical thing, it's a character thing, okay? And the spirit of excellence is the opposite of some of that spirit of like, sure, it'll be grand. We all know, we've done it before. I've done it before. Be like, it'll sort itself out. It'll be grand. Don't worry too much about it. Let's not do something about that or this because it'll be grand. But the spirit of excellence is the opposite of that, because the spirit of excellence, it's where you put effort. You just do something about it, right? And so the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, how many of us know that God is God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit? And the Holy Spirit is a spirit of excellence, is the best of who God is God's character. The Spirit of God is excellent. So excellence is something we recognize and we value as Christ followers. It's who we aim to be. We want to be more like Him. We want to be more like His Holy Spirit. And so we need to understand who He is so we can mirror ourselves and aim to be more like Him. So it's something that we value. It's something that we recognize. So the definition of excellence is the quality of being outstanding. Say with me, outstanding. That's right. So the quality of being outstanding. So quality is the standard. So excellence is the standard to stand out. That stands out. Okay? Excellence makes it stand out. So how many of us know that person that stands out? Because everything they do is just so perfect. I don't know if you know a person like that, but I do. And maybe later on I'll tell you who she is. Some of you know her too. Okay, so it's just that ability, everything they do is just so excellent and they just stand out. And how many of you know a person who's not excellent and how much they stand out also? Right? Maybe somebody or maybe yourself, when something is, sorry, I forgot how this is. Sometimes we just know that you're not doing the excellent, the best that you could be doing, and then that's going to stand out for the wrong reasons. So excellence can stand out, and the lack of excellence can also stand out. So we're going to go into our first point, which is excellence is optional. It's a choice we make. It's not something we're born with. We're not born excellent, like I'm going to be an excellent person for the rest of my life. It's something that we learn. It's something that we're influenced by, maybe how we are raised up by our parents, by our family, by people who are close to us, maybe by teachers when we're in school. If you have an excellent teacher, that person might instill in you that spirit of excellence and doing things to the best of your ability. Um, so, because it's something you learn, I have a verse here from Ecclesiastes. So King Solomon wrote this, and for you that might not be familiar, King Solomon was a king in the Old Testament, and he was a very, very wise man. In fact, the Bible talks about him being the wisest man. So here's what he said in Ecclesiastes 9:4. He says, "Anyone who is among the living has hope." Have you hope today? Are you alive? So we have hope. Even a live dog is better off than a dead lion. Say, live dog. Yes, that's what we're thinking of. Sometimes we want a lion-sized opportunity. Sometimes we want a lion-sized breakthrough, but then all we get is a live dog. All we get is a little chihuahua-sized breakthrough or a chihuahua-sized, opportunity. So we can become resourceful with the oppositions we get. Sometimes because we don't have what is the newest thing or the actual equipment you need for a certain job, you become creative. And from that creativity, you can make something unique and something that will stand out because it was the best you could do, and it will stand out because it's excellent. So I have a little story. When I was growing up, as I said, I grew up in Brazil. So I'm part of a family. I have an older sister and a younger brother. And as we were growing up, I think it was about this time many years ago, that my brother's birthday was coming up. And as kids, we loved to play outside. We were part of a community that, like, there was lots of kids, and so we would just normally play outside on our bicycles and this and that. And my brother wanted a bicycle for his birthday. And as you know, many years ago, a bicycle wasn't something you just get overnight. It was a little bit more expensive. So my parents had given me a bicycle and my sister a bicycle, and obviously it was his turn to have a bicycle, but they didn't necessarily have the cash for it. So, okay, so what do we do? Like, coming back to this verse, a dead lion or a live dog. So my dad had this brilliant idea. I had a bicycle that I did not use anymore. I had outgrown that bicycle. My brother, being younger than I, he took this old bicycle, which was pink and had a little basket and all. Okay, he bought some paint, got some stickers, and painted it really bright yellow, and named the brand of the bicycle after my brother, and gave to him as a gift for his birthday present. Let me tell you something. My brother was the proudest guy to have a bicycle in that neighborhood. He just walked around, he just cycled around like there was nobody else like him with that unique bicycle. I'm telling you, it was the live dog. It was like, I will make the best I can with what I have. And look at the opportunity and the creativity, and how much it meant so much more to my brother to have that bicycle. And everybody knew that was his bicycle because nobody had anything like it. So it's optional. We could have just said, sure, the lion is dead, but no, let's work with what we have. So our second point is excellence is doing the best, which is a little bit touching what we said before, right? Even if you don't have the best, you still can do the best that you can. It's not about being the best, it's about doing the best. Have you ever done like a really good job at something and you feel a sense of satisfaction? It was the very best you could do. So, when you spend time and effort at something, you just get that sense of fulfillment, of satisfaction, because you did that thing to the best of your ability. So, going to school, did you ever, I don't know if you experienced this, but I did, going to school, maybe you have a project, maybe you're like in first year, I don't know, and you have this project about animals, because there's always an animal project, around that time in school. Parents, yes, you know about that. So that there's like this project coming up, and you just leave it to the last minute, and then you're like, Mom, I have this project tomorrow. And I'm going to do a little presentation. The teacher's going to call me to the front, and I have to just talk about this, whale. I don't know. Maybe it chose giraffe. I don't know. And then you're like, freaking out a little. You're anxious. You're nervous because you did not do the excellent job of preparing ahead. And then you come to your classroom, and then there's like, this first person that's like excited about the project, and you're excited about this. Maybe I should have prepared more. Maybe I should have been more excellent about this. And then it goes through your head what you did not do, right? And this person comes, oh, let me be first. And generally speaking, girls can do that, because I don't see boys doing that, like just being that good at projects, like prepared and loving it. And anyway, so let's say it's a girl. So she's like, yes, let me go first. And then she comes like first year, like PowerPoint. Like, this is the image of the whale, and that's them on their natural habitat, and, look at them with all their friends, swimming away, and this is their sound. Here now, their sound. I'm going to press this is their sound, whatever they think, and then you're sitting there thinking, I just have a picture. Oh my gosh, and it's tiny, nobody will see it. That situation of excellence and lack of excellence, and you're just shrinking in your seat thinking, I could have been that person that was excellent about this, project, but I just did not put the work into it. I did not do this with excellence. Now, if you do things with excellence, you can be the girl with the PowerPoint, okay? But if we are not thinking and have an attitude of doing the best that we can with what we have, then we're going to be shrinking on our seats with a little picture of a whale thinking, it's me next. It doesn't give you that sense of satisfaction. It gives you anxiety. It gives you lack of peace. It makes you feel nervous because you were not excellent. It's hard work. Okay, so in Matthew 25:14-15 says, again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one, he gave 5 bags of gold, to another, 2 bags, and to another, 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. You see, we were all given different amounts, but we are all trusted to do our best with what we have. Excellence is not about having the most, it's about giving the most. Okay? So this scripture in Matthew is talking about the parable of the talents. And I just want to make you familiar, if you're not, that this story of this guy that owned a bit of wealth, and he said, I'm going to go away for a journey, and here, this servant I'm going to give you this much, this servant I'm going to give that much, and this servant I'm going to give this other much. When he comes back, he's very cross with one of his servants, because instead of working out that bit that he had given to him, he buried it. So when the owner came back, he was like, oh, here's exactly what he entrusted me. And the owner was like, how come you're giving me what I entrusted you? How come you didn't make more with that? How come you were not excellent with the talent, with the gold, with the wealth, with the gifts that I have entrusted you? And we have to be aware of that, because God has also given us something unique to you, to your abilities, and it's up to you to be the best that you can be. Only you can be you, right? Okay, so what is excellent for one is mediocre for another. Now, I will also tell you a little story about it. So let's pretend that my sister is here, and we're both given ingredients for this amazing cake. You know where this is going, don't you? Right. I will work out like my very best. I will make this cake to the best of my ability, and it's gonna be like. And then my sister, if you don't know her, she has a cake business. She will be making her best, and she's gonna look at the details, and she's gonna cut the little flowers, and she's gonna get the icing sugar in there. And mine one will have little bubbles, and her one will be nice and smooth. And then we're gonna show our cake to you. It's gonna be like her cake, a happy cake, a smiley cake, and my cake will be a not so happy cake, but it will be a cake because I can bake, I promise. But the difference of how these two cakes will look will be very obvious. But I've tried my best, and she has tried her best, and both of them look different. Let me tell you, my kids will be happy with any cake I make. They will, and they will see the excellence of it. But when she makes her cake, it's like, wow. It looks different. It looks different. But that difference, the looks, the comparison cannot take away the joy and the satisfaction that I have done my best. I will keep doing cakes. I will keep making them. And you're all welcome to come and have them. It won't be good looking or as tasty as hers, but it will be my excellent. It will be my best. Thank God I have a baking mother, and she taught me to. So, be creative. So your opposition can be your greatest opportunity. And this is another thing. How many of you cook? Lift your hands up. If you like to cook, every now and then, even once in your lifetime. Yeah, go on. So how many of you have thought like, okay, I'm going to make this dish, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to have this ingredient, and it's going to have that ingredient, it's going to have this other ingredient. And then you start making it until you realize you don't have cream, or you don't have the chicken. You don't have something that is really important for that recipe. And then you're like, will I call someone to get it in the shop? Will I not call somebody? You open the fridge and like, oh, what do I have? What do I have? What can I find? You're opening the cabinets. Is there anything that I can substitute? Is there anything that I can do to improve this, to make it better? And then you have this like wonderful new recipe, new food, a new dish that people come to you like, how did you make that? Like, you will never believe how. You will never believe how. It's just that ability of making the best with what you have. And this is something I think if you ever cooked, you will experience this, okay? And if you haven't cooked yet, then you should try it, because it's quite, a lot of adrenaline there, especially if you have visitors coming over. Okay, so it's being resourceful, and it's just being creative, okay? So excellence, the next point is excellence sets us apart. People are drawn to excellence. Okay? Excellence is attractive. Now, how many of us have been part or of a selection for a team? Or how many of us have actually have had the responsibility of maybe picking a team, or maybe for work, or maybe again in school. We've all experienced somehow that teamwork thing. But how many of us wants to choose that person that is excellent to be in our team and feel like a winner already before we even started? I've got the best team player because they're excellent, and their standard will bring your whole team up because they're excellent. What about the person who is not excellent? Is anybody attracted to have them in their team, to be part of their world, of their win or lose? You see, if you're going to lose with excellent people on your team, it's okay. It's not too bad. But if you're going to lose thinking, we could have done so much better, then that's not a good feeling, right? That's not great. That's not a good attitude. And you know what? It's frustrating. It's frustrating to be part of something that doesn't aim to be excellent, especially if you have that spirit of excellence in you. If you want to do your best, and then the person next to you is just like, yeah, sure, I'll be grand. So it's frustrating because you're like, come on, everybody, come with me. Let's do this. Let's win. So people are distinguished by excellence. No matter how much you were given, you can stand out by being excellent. Okay, so like I said, we were all given different amounts, but if we're all striving to be the best, we can all stand out. Okay? People are discovered because of excellence. I love this part. I love this part. You can stand out anywhere you are in your life, in your workplace. You can stand out because you can be excellent, and somebody will be like, wow, this person. You can be discovered. So, and the best example, I think one of the best, I should say, because there are many excellent people in the Word, in the Bible. But Daniel 6:3 talks a little bit about that. Then this Daniel, because of the extraordinary spirit within him, began distinguishing himself among the commissioners and the satraps and the king planters, to appoint him over the entire realm. Let me explain to you a little bit about that. So there was a king named Darius, and he was the king of quite a large amount of a kingdom, and he decided to divide that kingdom in about 120 parts, and he assigned people to take care of those parts. And then he thought, well, that's a lot of parts. I'm going to assign these three officials to take care of the people who are taking care of the 220 parts. Do you get that? Yeah, like a little bit of what we do, like little management kind of thing, right? Very clever king. And Daniel was one of these three officials taking care of the governors, okay? And what happened is Daniel was doing such an excellent job. Forgot again. He was doing such an excellent job. He was standing out so much by what he was doing in taking care of the governors that the king decided to let him have the whole lot of it. He said, you know what, you're doing such a good job, you're taking care of the whole lot of the governors, the whole entire realm. You see this? God will honor excellence. God will honor excellence. And he was discovered because of his spirit of excellence. Okay? So, and the side note in that is, and that's something that, I'm sure you've experienced also, but I can see it in my life. God will not entrust us with more if what we're doing right now and how much we're giving right now is not being done with excellence. If you're not doing your best in the little things, like, let's, be on time. Let's come, like, that's for me. Like, let's be a rehearsal every week. Let's, spend time working on, songs, or maybe, on my house, let's take time, spending time with the family and planning ahead. If there's no excellence in the little things that I'm giving, maybe at work as well, where, then how is God going to trust me with more? How is he going to say, oh, you're able for more, when you're like already not doing your best, having the attitude of like, I sure will be fine. It's not going to happen. God will honor your excellence, and you will stand out. So point 4 is excellence is excellent everywhere. Excellence by definition is consistent. We're not called to be our best only when we walk into an office. How many of us know, like I don't know, sometimes I have to just, remind myself my life is not departments. I can't just have the mentality of I'm going to do my best the minute I walk into the office because my boss is on top of me. I can't have that mentality because that's not God's mentality. God has made me to be one person everywhere I go. So I need to have that spirit of excellence when I go into the office, but also when I walk into my living room and it's just a mess with toys. I need to have a spirit of excellence when I'm doing little things for my family, when I'm doing little things for the community, for the church, for the office, for the people around me. I need to carry that. I need to be consistent so I can be a person of excellence, not a person who sometimes does excellence. Okay? Um, and excellence permeates every area of our life. So that's pretty much what I said. In school, at work, and all that. Okay, so one example of that is the example of Ruth. Okay, Ruth 3:11. Now, my daughter, do not be afraid. I will do for you whatever you ask, since all my people in the city know that you are a woman of excellence. Say excellence. So Ruth was known not only by her family, not only by her boss, which in fact she kind of married him. So she's not known only by like some people about her excellence. She stood out to a whole community. Everybody knew that Ruth was an excellent person. She was a person that had a character. She's smiling, she's Ruth. And that she was a person of character. She was a person of integrity, of excellence, that whatever Ruth was going to do, she was going to do to the best of her ability. And that stood out. So when it came time for her to ask this man who later on became her husband, he was like, I've heard about you. Have you ever experienced that? Somebody say, I've heard about you. You're doing great things in Lighthouse. I've heard about you doing great things at your workplace because of your spirit of excellence. It gives you a reputation, a good reputation. Okay, so let's ask, well, I can ask myself, you can ask yourself the question, am I known for my excellence or because of my excellence? And that's another thing, even in our world, it's kind of moved around that whole idea of excellence. We might not see it with these exact words, but say you're applying for a job. I believe most people taking an employee will actually call or ask for a reference. What is reference other than a phone call, or is this person excellent at what they do? Are they the best workers they can be? Do they have a good character? Are they reliable? Is their standard excellence? So it's there ingrained even in our in a world out there, but maybe not exactly being called. What is your excellence reference? But that's what they're checking on, right? And when we have that character, we'll get the job. We'll get it's what's going to make us stand out. So point number 5 is excellence is more than life. It's a legacy. So excellence doesn't just affect us now, but affects those that comes after us. Okay? We're all products of somebody's excellence or lack of excellence. Like I said at the start, excellence is something we learn. So I remember very well my mother teaching me from very young to do chores. I mean, nobody likes to do chores, generally speaking. Maybe you do. I don't know, it's just me. I didn't like having chores. I just wanted to go play outside. But there was something a lot deeper and a lot bigger and more important than just doing a chore. My mother was instilling in me a spirit of excellence. I wasn't meant to just, put the dishes under the water and like run. I had to actually clean them. I had to actually do things properly. And if it wasn't done properly, she would call me back because it was her responsibility to teach me to be excellent even with small things. So how many times did I have to do the same job again? I do remember that. And at the time, it was a pain. But now I'm so thankful because I know what excellent looks like. And I know that I can do excellent because something that I was taught. Maybe you were not taught excellence, but you can still learn excellence right now. But it's something that is taught, even by the people around you. And the interesting thing is, Now, this standard we reach for will be a standard of our kids. So for me, I have kids now. I have three boys, if you don't know that. So now I am in the place where I am teaching them excellence. And again, boys, they're not ones, that love doing chores at home. That's their little world. That's how I can teach them, or even homework, whatever it is in their world. I am the one that has to teach them, hey, you know what? Do you think you could do better at this? Question them, make them think about it. And there is a couple who are pastors, and they're great friends of Jamie and I. And I remember him saying, his kids are now graduating and stuff, and I remember him saying something like, when his kids come back from school and maybe they didn't have the best grades or the best, at some subjects and something like that, and then he would ask them, was this the best you could do? Was this the best that you could have achieved? If it is the best that you could have achieved, that you could have done, that you could have worked at, then it's good enough for me. You see, because I believe that in a society where everything is cut to a certain shape that needs to fit into everybody's personality and design, I believe God has made us a lot more unique than we can make shapes for. And the thing is, some people will have the hard work and do the best and get the top grades, and some people will do the best and they won't get the top grades. It's just how different we are, and we need to love and accept and affirm and find the areas that we're really really good at, and then work with excellence so we can be good at the things that only you can be good at. So a good example of that is from Chronicles 22, verse 5. So David said, my son Solomon is a young and inexperienced, and the house to be built for the Lord should be of great magnificence and fame and splendor of excellence in the sight of all the nations. Therefore, I will make preparations for it. So David made extensive preparations before his death. So again, I'm going to give it a little bit of context. David was one of the greatest kings ever existed, and he's mentioned for quite a bit of the Old Testament. And just he was a man, he was a king that God loved so much. He pleased so much of God's heart. He was referred as the man after God's own heart. Now, anybody wants that title? Because I would love that title. He did things with excellence. If you read the story of David, King David, you will see throughout everything he did things with excellence. So he had talked to God, and he said, God, because at the Old Testament, God's presence was into a chest, an ark, okay, and it didn't have a temple. There was no place for that ark specific, and a solid place for it. And his desire was to make a place for the presence of God to be in. And so he said to God, God, can I build you just an amazing temple for your presence to be in? And God said to me, David, I that's okay. You can, a temple will be a great idea, but you're not the one who is going to build it for me. Your son is going to build a temple for me. Now, David could be thinking, oh, this line is dead. But he did not. He thought, you know what? I have resources. I have excellence. I have people. I have so much that I can do in preparation so that when my son steps into this role of ruling as a king, he can have a lot more advantages to make this temple magnificent and excellent. So as a parent, as a leader, as a good leader, of excellence, he's thinking ahead and thinking, I will not build a temple, but I will do all that I can so that when the next person comes in, when Solomon comes in, he's going to have an excellent opportunity, an excellent chance. So think of the opposite. Had David not been excellent, even in planning for the future, Solomon would have had to start from scratch. His start off point would have been way behind than where David left off for him. And this is what we're doing for our children. If we're teaching them, and the next generation, not only our blood children, but our children as in spiritual children in this place, if we're not teaching them to do things to the best of their ability, they will never know God's potential for their lives, So, also to mention that excellence is worship. So, God deserves the best, and God desires our best. Like I said before, this is going to look different to everybody, for everybody. But if you're doing your best, this is all that God is asking for, that you would do your best. You see, we think of worship sometimes as in like we just get together here on a Sunday and we're going to sing a few songs and that's worship. But actually, worship is a posture of our hearts. It's an attitude. It's something we do every day. The minute we get up, are we acknowledging God? If we're acknowledging God, God, you're God, and to you this day belongs, and, thank you. That's worship. Worship in the Old Testament was never referred to as in like just a song you sing. It was always referred to as a position of humbleness before God, acknowledgement that He's God and we are not. So, spirit of excellence is acknowledging that everything we do is for the honor of God. If we're not doing if we're not with a spirit of excellence at a workplace, then how are we honoring God in what we do? How are people going to look at us and think, oh, she's a Christian? He's a Christian? What? you know and how about the things we say, and how about the things how we say things? Are we being excellent everywhere we go, and reflecting and honoring God, whom we say we follow? These are good questions for us to ask and evaluate, because we're all influenced by this world, but we don't actually belong to this world. We're called to be His reflection. We're called to be people that reflect the excellence of God. So, how this excellence makes you stand out? You know what your days look like. You know what places you go to, what people are surrounding you, what people you have influenced, and what does it look like to stand out in excellence in your world? Um, when we stand up for excellence, we stand out we stand out by excellence, and God stands with us through excellence. So let's think about this for a minute. Like, so when we stand up for excellence, when we decide I'm going to do the best that I can, my ability to get this task done, or to live this to live this life in everything I do, then we're going to stand out, because there's something special about you when you do things with excellence. And then people are going to look at you and say, wow, I see something different about you. Has anybody ever approached and said, there's something about you I can't put into words? What is this? And let me tell you, if they have, that's the Spirit of God in you, and He is a spirit of excellence. So you're going to stand out. You're going to stand out. You just need to stand for who God is. His character is excellent. Excellence might not be expensive, because sometimes, right, we don't have the resources to buy the most expensive thing, but excellence is very costly. We pay the price because it's worth it. Like I said at the start, if we want to have great results about things, we need to be excellent about it. And what a better example than Jesus. We know God is excellent, and we know that He did His best to reach out to us. So in Romans 5:6-8 says, you see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person, someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. It was never about us, because we would never make the standard of God in all of His perfection, in all of His excellence. But God gave His very best. We don't do excellence because we're going to get something back out of. We do it because God did it. That's a motivation for us, right? What did God do in all of His excellence? God gave His best. He said, I will send you my Son. I will send you my very best. And He's going to be your friend, and He's going to show you the way. He's going to show you how loved you are, how much I love you, how much you mean to me. You see, when something is worth it, you will do your best. God is saying to us today, you are worth it. You're worth everything. I will give my life for you because you're worth it. I will be excellent. I will do my best because you are worth it. You know, it shows value. When we do things with excellence, it means we care. It means it's important for us. It's worth the price that we're going to pay.